beautiful souls, it's Tad back here today with another astrology video, and today we'll be talking about tips and tricks that I have for Saturn in the third house, Saturn in Gemini, or Capricorn ruling the third house individuals out there who maybe is preparing for their Saturn return, is going through their Saturn return. So at any time in your life you can be using these tips. Now I have made a video talking about what it means to have Saturn in the third house, so I suggest that you watch that video first, links up above and in the description box below, so you can get an idea about the karmic cycles of having Saturn in the third house, and then you can come back and watch this video and it'll probably make more sense. So the first tip that I have for Saturn in the third house, Saturn in Gemini, or Capricorn ruling the third house is to practice gray thinking. So this means removing any sort of black and white thinking that you may have as a habit. You know, understanding that this type of a thinking is really sort of the defense mechanism of having Saturn in the third house. It's a coping mechanism, for having Saturn in the third house. Because it's the way that Saturn in the third house uses Saturn to let you cope with challenges in your life by, you know, making you not see the reality of the situations that might happen in your life, either seeing it as completely negative or seeing it as completely positive, seeing it all positive or seeing it as all negative. So that's a kind of black and white thinking that Saturn instills within you to help you cope. And you know, Saturn is our father principle. So this habit is stemming from, you know, your father figure, who might have been someone who, rather than coping with his problems head on, or rather than facing the reality of situations head on, you know, he resorts to, you know, the TV, the media, the news, to travel, or he was just in his head a lot and things like that. So, you know, it's being picked up unconsciously within you. The thing about having, you know, black and white thinking is it sort of will cause a bit of a difficulty in relationships in your life, because it really puts the people in your life in a position where their options of giving you satisfaction is very narrow and limited. Like they have to only do certain specific things to not have you think black or white about them. So you're sort of, in a way, you know, the cycle here is that you're limiting your relationships from really, you know, being as exploratory as they could be, or the potentials and the possibilities that they could expand into. Black and white thinking can also lead to a lot of stress within life, because if the person, you know, if things and situations are not happening in the way that can be white, then they're going to be black. So you only have two options. Do you see what I mean? But with, you know, gray thinking, if it's going to be this way or that way, there's always good and bad. So it causes you a lot of less stress. So the first thing that you can do to sort of develop gray thinking is to let go of any preconceived notions and ideas that you may have about certain situations in your life. This may mean that you have to watch a movie that you told yourself you would never watch this type of movie. Read a book about subjects that you told yourself you would never read about. Watching YouTube videos about subjects that you told yourself you would never watch, things like that, things that you told yourself you would never. That is what you need to do. So, and you know, even, you know, you may find that once you step over these sort of limitations that you've set for yourself, that, okay, I was right, I did not like it. Or you may find that you do like it. But if you do find that, okay, I was right, I don't actually like this thing. What did you learn from it though? That's a Gemini type of thinking. What can you take away? There's always something you can take away from different ideas, different thoughts, different situations. And you know, this type of a learning is way better than the learning that you will get from school. So the next thing that you can do with Saturn in the third house, Saturn in Gemini, or having Capricorn ruling the third house is to meditate. Now, the reason why I say this is because meditation allows you to be able to explore your mind. Because, you know, with Saturn in the third house, there can be a tendency to get busy, do a lot of things, because you don't want to be in that mind space. Sort of explore your psyche and become a bit of a mental nomad. So to get into meditation, you know, first you're gonna have to set this right scene for yourself. And the bedroom may not work for you, but how about in nature, or just in your living room with some candles, some, you know, nice smelling candles, some fragrances, things like that. A good atmosphere for you to start meditating. And there's a lot of online guided meditations out there that I absolutely highly recommend. I love to do them myself because they, you know, you can choose what you would like to do. If you want to find your purpose in life, you can do a meditation, an online guided meditation. Usually it's around 30 minutes about finding your purpose. And these types of meditations will cause you to have to concentrate and visualize certain scenes within your head to allow your subconscious mind to seep in through the visualization while you're doing it. And I think this is really powerful because whatever comes up during the meditation is definitely what your subconscious is trying to tell you is who you are, or is, you know, the path that you should go down, for example. And if you can also do the guided meditations alongside just no guided meditation. So you simply sit there in silence and you just basically observe your mind. What kind of thoughts keep reappearing in your mind? You know, thoughts that keep coming up over and over again. You know, what does that tell you about yourself, about you, who you are? And embrace that. If they're dark or negative thoughts, embrace and accept it, that this is who I am. And that's the only way to sort of make room for new thoughts, when you accept what's already there first. Otherwise, what's already there will keep coming up. So the next thing you can do with Saturn in Gemini, Saturn in the 3rd house, or Capricorn ruling the 3rd house, is to journal. So once you start doing these meditation techniques, you will find that the experiences that happen in your life, you have a way of connecting with them better, because you start to infuse your own understanding of who you are through knowing your subconscious into the experiences that happened in your life every day. And once that happens, you will gain so much insight about life, about other people, about situations in your life, that you really feel like you can't go a day without writing down your thoughts in a journal. And this is not a journal to write down, you know, what you're doing on a daily basis, but it's to write down your thoughts and your insights, your epiphanies about things that you have within your life every day. How you feel about certain things, even. The next thing that you can do with Saturn in the 3rd house, in Gemini or Capricorn ruling 3rd house, is to get firm with decision making. Now, the thing about this is that with this placement of Saturn, when I say get firm with decision making, it means using your gut in the decision making process, instead of seeing the different possibilities and then thinking, what is going to be the best for me? What's going to be the best for other people? What is the most balanced option that I should take? But receding back from that a little bit and then thinking to yourself, first of all, what has my experience taught me about each of these options? If I choose this one, have I chosen something similar in my past? And what was the consequence of choosing something like this? Have I chosen this one in my past? And what was the consequence of that? The second thing is to align your choice with your visions, your beliefs, and your principles. So first of all, you have to define what those are. The next thing is to really choose. Sometimes, you know, you just have to choose something because it satisfies you rather than being the best. Do you see what I mean? It satisfies something that you need at that point, even though it may not be the best, all-time best option, but it meets your satisfactory needs. But in order to be able to do all these three things, you know, before you can actually recede back from, you know, your thoughts going around and trying to choose rather than your gut, is to, you know, engage in some sort of concentrative activities like drawing, art, playing the music, yoga. You know, these types of activities are allowing you to be more calm and still, and kind of working on that ability to be more focused. And then you can take the skills that you learned through these activities to recede back and then make your decision based on those three things that I mentioned. All right, and the last thing you want to do with Saturn in the 3rd house and Gemini or Capricorn ruling the 3rd house is to become a master communicator. You know, Saturn in the 3rd house has a reputation for either, you know, before your Saturn return, not being able to say what's on your mind or saying things that's on your mind, but it comes out in a way that you you struggle with expressing yourself so people don't quite understand you, or just simply talking a lot, way more than you should be talking. So we want to be in the middle, becoming the master communicator here, because Saturn, whichever house Saturn is in, Saturn brings mastery in that house, and third house is the house of communications. So the first thing about being a master communicator is understanding that it's not really about getting validation or approval or respect for your opinions, but it is about the contribution that that opinion is going to give to the world. And you can only understand this if you yourself are someone who is able to accept different types of information without feeling like you have to stick with one of them. And then you can be that person who freely contributes information and opinions in a way where you're not looking for anybody to choose your opinion, you're just contributing, you're just sharing and spreading that information. The next thing is take a course or a class, to improve communication. There's plenty of them out there. You can take online courses, you can take actual face-to-face courses if you want. You can also record yourself, record an audio of, yourself saying something, a video of yourself saying something, analyze it, see how you can improve on that. And the last thing about being a master communicator or being a master of anything is to teach that subject. Teaching communication, teaching writing, teaching public speaking, being a teacher. That's really, really powerful for Saturn in the third house people. So guys, some books that I would recommend for Saturn in the third house is Own Your Own Shadow by Robert A. Johnson. So this really gets in touch with that part of your psyche that you've sort of disowned. Another book that's really good is any book, really, that is of a subject of interest to you. Read lots of it, read it deeply, buy lots of it, whatever it is that you're interested in. Movies that I would recommend to sort of get the brain exercise and brain juices flowing for Saturn in the third house is Inception, of course, a dream within a dream within a dream. This just exercises your curiosity and mind, and it's just gonna allow you to have fun. And the other thing that I forgot to mention is that, the third house also rules our immediate environment as well as relatives, family, siblings. So a really fun movie that you could watch is Little Miss Sunshine. I'm sure that you've heard of Little Miss Sunshine. It's about this dysfunctional family. And I really do think that the chaos that is displayed within this movie will really allow you to access that place of compassion for the people in the movie and in this family. The same with those of your family, which may be a little bit chaotic with your relatives and things. So, and I do feel that this movie may reflect, maybe it's your type of family dynamic or the dynamic with your relatives before your Saturn return. It may be something like this. So those are 5 tips for if you have Saturn in the third house in Gemini or Capricorn ruling the third house. If you have tried any of these, leave a comment below and let us know what your experiences have been. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. If you haven't, if you already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along. I do birth chart readings and synastry and relationship chart readings. So all the information is on my website. And yeah, I'll be back in the next video with Saturn in the 4th house tips. Have a good day, beautiful souls. Bye.